Hey, YouTube Gundam here. Welcome to an explanation and rant that I'm going to do for Star Wars real quick. Something that I have a problem with in Star Wars has to do with guns. A CR-90 Corvette on Wikipedia says that it has 4 laser cannons and 2 dual turbo lasers. An Imperial Star Destroyer says that it has ATOC tuplet turbo lasers, 60 turbo lasers, 60 ion cannons, 60 heavy turbo lasers. The octuplets on a Star Destroyer. My Nurodu class Star Destroyer is a great example of this. The secondary guns that are on my Nurodu that are all over the place, those guns are vastly larger than the guns on a CR-90, but they are tiny in comparison to the main turbo lasers on a Star Destroyer. The mistake that I believe Star Wars has made is they clump all weapons into just 2 categories: laser cannons and turbo lasers, and there is no definition between a turbo laser that is on a CR-90 but is smaller than a laser cannon on a Star Destroyer. In World War II, destroyers, cruisers, and battleships had a variety of different guns, and I'm going to use this as an explanation as to what I think should be done. In my Nurodu Star Destroyer's stats, you'll see that I have fighter-grade laser cannons, ship-grade laser cannons, capital-grade laser cannons, and the turbo lasers. And that is how I think could be a great way to solve it. For an example, where is my... if I grab a destroyer that I know is pretty good, Fletcher. The Fletcher class destroyer here. And yes, Star Wars is World War II, so I'm using World of Warships for World War II stuff. The Fletcher class destroyer has 20mm guns, 40mm flak guns, and then 5-inch primary cannons. Now, a 5-inch gun is pretty big on a destroyer. However, if you were to go to a cruiser, I have a lot of ships, like the Buffalo here, these are the same 5-inch guns, these things. They're tiny in comparison to the mains, but these mains are not that big compared to, say, the Missouri. The Missouri's main guns are enormous, and those secondary guns are tiny in comparison. But even those Bofors are very, very small compared to the main. Now, a great example of this is actually on the Yamato because of this right here, right by the second main gun. Right here. This shot. Here you have some 25mm or 20mm, are they? 15. Nope. 25mm anti-aircraft guns, a triple 6-inch turret, and then the main cannons. The primary guns on a CR-90 seem similar in size to, say, these 25mm. Those triple guns on my Nurodu are like this 6-inch back here, and the main turbo lasers will be like the giant 18-inchers here. See the problem? These are turbo laser on a CR-90, this is a laser cannon on a Star Destroyer, and this is the turbo laser on a Star Destroyer. How are the both of these turbo lasers? So, my solution goes off of what was used in World War II. On early aircraft and small vessels for their anti-aircraft weapons, it started actually with 7.62mm. Then it went up to 50 caliber or 12.7mm, and then 20mm and 25 or 30mm. And these are all basically machine guns, not an autocannon. 12.7, well, it's first 7.62, then 12.7, then 20, then 30mm. And I think that would work well for the weapons in Star Wars fighters and point defense. For light, medium, standard, and heavy. Because that's how it's classified. There's light weapons, light laser cannons, light turbo lasers, then medium, and then either just a blank or standard, and then the heavy weapons. Heavy turbo lasers, heavy laser cannons. So, I think by introducing fighter, ship, capital, and turbo with the light, medium, standard, and heavy, we can do it. So, using World War II as an example, fighter-grade laser cannons, 7.62 millimeter, 12.7 millimeter or 50 caliber, 20 millimeter, and 30 millimeter, as these generally are machine guns, not an autocannon. Machine guns are, there are some way up there. There they are. These weapons in World War II, 12.7 millimeters, 50 caliber, America used that on everything. 20 millimeters used on pretty much everybody else's stuff, but a lot were equipped with 30 millimeter machine guns as a standard or a machine cannon, but it wasn't an auto cannon. They had a pretty high rate of fire. So the vessels in World War II, using that for their general light armament, does work. Especially when you throw in something like the destroyers. But then you get to ship-grade laser cannons. And this is very important. America and its 40mm Bofors flak guns. These autocannons, 40mm autocannons, are phenomenal for shooting down aircraft as a flak gun. Star Wars critically has the Lancer-class frigate from the old expanded universe, which is a very, very famous anti-fighter vessel. If that thing were just loaded up with a whole bunch of equivalent 40mm Bofors, I'd buy it. If you tell me that it instead has some 30mm machine guns, so my idea for ship-grade weapons would be 40mm, 57mm, 76mm, and 90mm. These are very small weapons, but could be seen on heavy bomber craft or corvettes, and very light weapons on some frigates. They would not be ideal for heavy weapons on these vessels, but it would be good as sort of smaller armament. And with the 40mm Bofors that America used on everything, it makes sense. Right there. Then you get to some of the lighter flak guns like 76mm or 90mm, and yes, even the 57mm. A 90mm gun you would call is kind of big, but it's also pretty small. 90mm? That's not even at 100 yet. By the way, 25.4 is 1 inch, 51 basically is 2 inch, 76 is 3 inch, and around 104 is 4 inch. A 5 inch is 127mm. Where's Mighty Mo? There, 127mm 5-inch guns. Capital weapons. And because World Warships has these 5-inch guns as secondary guns, and obviously they do. I mean, the Missouri's an Iowa-class battleship, and she still exists today. You can go view her at any time if you go to Hawaii. These secondary guns, these 5-inch guns in World War II were used heavily as dual-purpose guns, as ship to ship and as anti-aircraft. On a destroyer, it is the primary armament, but on a cruiser, it's the secondary armament. I mean, look at the Cleveland. Those are only 6-inch guns compared to those 5-inch. But they're close enough, they would use them for both because the mains won't shoot too much farther. These 8-inch, yet 203mm 8-inch guns. Okay. So for the capital grade cannons, it would start at 105mm, I believe, for the light, and then 127mm 5-inch for medium, and 152mm 6-inch for standard, and 203mm 8-inch for the heavy. That makes sense to me. Turbo is just anything over 10-inch. You know, like these 16-inch guns here. Where's my Congo? Here's a Congo class. Congos were equipped with 14-inch guns. My Texas is around here. Also equipped with 14-inch guns, but built very differently. But something like the Missouri was equipped with 16-inch guns. And of course you have this thing and its mighty 18.1-inch guns. Now, that's a turbo laser. That is a heavy turbo laser. A 14-inch, or if you are, I don't know, the Bismarck, a 15-inch could work as a standard turbo laser gun. That's really what I think they need. Fighter grade, ship grade, capital grade, and turbo grade, using World War II as a reference. 7.62, 12.7, 20, and 30mm for fighter, 40, 57, 76, and 90 for ship, 105, 127, 152, 203 for capital, and basically anything bigger for turbo grade. And, yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion. But seriously, not having anything, because again, the CR90, where's my Yamato? The CR90's main guns are these tiny things, basically. A little bit bigger than that, actually. They're kind of more like this compared to this massive one way over here. You know, the CR90 has very small guns compared to the secondary guns on a Star Destroyer or the main turbo lasers. Yet on a Star Destroyer, those are laser cannons. The CR90 and the octuplets are turbo lasers. You cannot tell me that this and this is the same thing, but this is something supposed to be smaller. No. I don't buy that. I do not buy that. Fighter grade, ship grade, capital grade, turbo grade. That's why I do that on the Neurodu Star Destroyer. I throw in the concept of all of these to give this variety of the armament and to help explain a lot of stuff. And yes, America's 5-inch dual-purpose guns, what I'm saying, are those triple medium capital laser cannons that are all over the Star Destroyer. And several of them are ion cannons, too. So, yeah. All right, thank you for your time. What do you think about my idea in the comments? Yeah, the millimeters, by the way, don't really matter. It's just my comparison. So, ciao.